What is going on, guys? SteelTwins coming back at you with another video, and the Pittsburgh Steelers 2022/2023 NFL season schedule has officially been released.
It is that time, guys. It is 2 weeks after the NFL draft, and we already have the schedule released, so we're going to get right into it. Week 1. To no one's surprise, the Steelers go on the road again for the 8th straight year to open the season. The last time the Steelers opened a Week 1 opener at home at Heinz was actually 2014 versus the Browns. So another year where we will not be opening Week 1, which is a shame. And at this point,
it should come to no surprise, really.
Yeah.
It's whatever at this point. But nonetheless, Week 1, we go to Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bengals,
to face the reigning, defending, undisputed AFC champions of the world, the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is going to be a very fun matchup because last year the Bengals absolutely destroyed us. They swept us.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Without any, difficult task either.
Exactly. It was an embarrassment last year what the Bengals did to us.
And a rivalry was renewed last year, and I can absolutely see it continuing again this year. It's definitely going to be a tough battle come Week 1.
And they're obviously the reigning conference champions, so this is a hell of a matchup to open the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road against Cincinnati. I don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. I think it's going to be Trubisky if I had to make a guess, but we shall see come September 11th.
Now, Week 2 is our home opener, and we will be hosting the New England Patriots come Week 2.
So Bill Belichick comes to Pittsburgh with a new quarterback this time around, and Mac Jones, which should be pretty interesting since that will be his first matchup versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, a young up-and-rising quarterback in the AFC for the Patriots. Heading to Heinz, that's always an interesting matchup. And for a home opener, I think that's a great game to open it, especially since we're getting Belichick and Tomlin again. Now, that's been very one-sided in memory.
Overall, really, besides last time, to which the last time the Steelers and Patriots did go up against each other, it was at Pittsburgh, and it was an incredible moment for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Steelers fans.
Yes, which we actually took off for that game, even though we lost to the Raiders the week prior to that. But still, we beat the Patriots that last time. Now, this is going to be one of the few first times that Belichick is actually going to be facing the Steelers without Tom Brady.
And Week 3 is actually Thursday Night Football as we go back on the road to go up against the Cleveland Browns. This time around, they have Deshaun Watson.
Well, I don't know yet.
What do you mean you don't know yet?
He might be suspended.
I heard he's not, as of this moment, he's not going to face any discipline. He may not get suspended.
Are you serious?
I heard something a couple of weeks ago that Goodell may or may not do anything about it.
I've heard nothing of that sort. I don't know how Watson doesn't get suspended. I'm going to imagine he does get suspended, although Rob could be right. He might just get a slap on the wrist. I don't know. But
well, it wouldn't be the first time.
It would not be the first time. But the Cleveland Browns, we play them on Thursday Night Football Week 3. We already get a primetime game early on, so that should be interesting. Already 2 AFC North division matchups where
within the first 3 weeks, but the next week we go back to Pittsburgh to go up against the New York Jets. To which, I mean,
the New York Jets with a new head coach, a young quarterback. Will they be the Jets that we all know they are, or are they actually going to show their youth and their promise? I don't know.
To which I will give the Jets credit. They had a lot of positive come this offseason, especially the draft 2 weeks ago. But, the Jets are the Jets, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do this upcoming season, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And since this is at home, I'm definitely not going to sleep on them.
Of course not. Of course not. This could honestly be like an early trap game, quote unquote. Depending on how you look at the Jets.
Right.
But I still see this being a very competitive matchup for sure.
Now we go from one AFC East opponent to another with the Buffalo Bills. We actually had the Buffalo this time around. We faced them last year in Week 1 where they pulled off the major upset at their place. Could the Steelers do the same thing come Week 5?
It's very, very well possible. Last time, Week 1 last year, it was a matchup that I honestly did not think the Steelers could pull off, but somehow, someway, they managed to do so.
And arguably, I gotta say, man, this team so far on paper, via free agency, via the draft, is better than last year.
I would say it's more promising for sure, considering it's more young, it's more exciting, I would say, and it's more unpredictable too.
That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing. And this time around against Buffalo Bills,
an AFC elite.
After 4 weeks into the season, depending on what the Steelers do, how they play, and what record they may have, this could very well be a must-see for sure, if not already.
I'm going to tell you right now, man, these first 6 weeks is a pretty tough stretch. We got the Bengals, then the Patriots, then the Browns, then the Jets, then the Bills, and now in week 6 we got Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Pittsburgh. This is actually one of the few games I'm going to try really hard to make because I actually want to see this game live in Heinz. And it's Tom Brady. I feel like every football fan, like him, hate him, view him how you want. He's the greatest of all time, and to see him play in person is just a great thing. But this is probably going to be the last time he plays in Heinz Field
against the Pittsburgh Steelers,
But I want to see what the Steelers defense can do against Tom Brady.
Yeah, with their defensive stars and Watt, Hayward, Minka, potentially Tua coming back. You got that pass rush. You got the secondary that's pretty loaded for the most part.
I want to see what this defense can do against Tom Brady nowadays.
Yes, and considering how they did the last time to face Tom Brady when he was with the Patriots at Heinz Field, the defense did a very, very good job. So it'll be interesting to see how they do against him when he's with the Buccaneers with the weapons he's got.
Oh, totally. But that's a game I definitely want to make, but it's without a doubt probably the toughest game thus far when you look at the schedule.
I mean, the first 6 weeks are going to be a pain. They really, really are. And it's really going to tell, what this team's really going to be, to which I'm not going to have too high of expectations coming into this season.
Right.
We're just going to have to wait and see how they are because I can't really tell you what type of team we're really going to get besides the fact that I believe that they will remain competitive no matter what.
Right. I think this team is going to remain within the 7th seed, but when you look at the schedule, and we're already only halfway through it, it's a tough schedule, especially the first half of the season. After the Bucs, man, Sunday Night Football, we head to Miami to face the Miami Dolphins. With the new head coach and Mike McDaniel, we have Tua. Now they have Tyreek Hill. They have Jalen Waddle. They got a better O-line. Their defense is very underrated. Brian Flores, man, returns to Miami.
Yeah.
Minka
yes.
returns to Miami. He faced Miami before, but that was in Pittsburgh, I believe, on Monday Night Football a few years back.
Yes.
This time, he returns to Miami.
And that story with Minka and Brian Flores, is very, very telling.
And that's why this game is on Sunday Night Football. We're talking about two very young teams going at it in prime time. I'm excited for this.
I'm absolutely excited for this. It's two young, up and rising AFC teams for sure.
And you notice, man, in the first half of the season, we already faced the entire AFC East.
Yes,
that's insane. And
before we hit November.
Before we hit November, exactly. And the AFC East, man, is a lot better than they were years prior, where it was just a one-team squad.
Oh, dude, it's
one-team division.
It's much more younger. It's much more promising.
Much more competitive.
Yeah, it's much more unpredictable at the same time, too.
But within the first 7 weeks, we already faced the entire AFC East. And now week 8, the Battle of Pennsylvania, the day before Halloween.
Halloween Eve. We go to Philadelphia against the Eagles.
Which is, I want to say, a better team. They got A.J. Brown now to pair with Devonta Smith. It all matters on what Jalen Hurts is going to do in his 3rd year.
Yes.
His second full year as a starter. I don't know how far along he has come, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do against the Steelers defense in Philly right before the Steelers bye week, which that is at week 9, which is pretty much right in the middle of the entire schedule. So I love that spot. Week 9, I feel like that's a sweet spot, seeing how the schedule's falling now.
Without a doubt, that's a great spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But the first half of the season, man, that is a tough stretch.
That is not going to be easy for sure.
I believe the Steelers are tied for 12th with the strongest schedule.
I believe you're correct on that.
Even though when you look at the teams now, and that's based off of record from last year and stuff like that, but if you look at the teams now, after everything that's gone down the last 3 months.
And at least on paper.
It is a tough first stretch of the season, let me tell you.
Yeah.
We got the entire AFC East. We got the Eagles. We got the Bucs. We got two AFC North opponents.
Yeah. Like I said, the first 6 weeks were difficult, but, don't underestimate two young teams in the Dolphins and the Eagles in week 7 and 8.
Or even the Jets.
Or the Jets, absolutely, in week 4.
Because any given Sunday,
bro, it's not going to be easy for the Steelers. That's for sure, and it's really, really going to tell. Like I said earlier in this video, it's going to tell how this team is, with how young it is, how they're going to progress, how they're going to have to reevaluate, basically.
Exactly. And the thing with this team is I'm going into it with my expectations very standard, very just below. I'm not going to be overhyped with this team. I'm not going to say this team's going to do this and that.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's an entirely different team and era for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is the first season without Ben Roethlisberger as a starting quarterback. So I don't know exactly what this team's going to do, and seeing how this first half of the season is falling, I can't tell you what the record's going to be before the bye of Week 9.
But it's really going to tell how this team is, how Tomlin is going to be without Big Ben, and how dependable our defense truly is with how much they added in free agency and even the draft.
But after Week 9, man, after the first week of November, they return home to face the New Orleans Saints.
With, what's his name, Dennis Allen as head coach. And Sean Payton semi-retired as of right now. The Saints are... I'll give this. The Saints have a great defense.
Yeah, of course they do.
The offense is very meh. Especially at the quarterback position with Jameis Winston and that's basically it. I was going to say Tyson Hill, but he switched to tight end he should have.
But as of right now, I'm thinking that's going to be a confident dub, but I'm not going to sleep on the Saints whatsoever because of that defense.
Yes.
And speaking of defenses, man, I think this is another good point to bring up is that this young offense, which is on paper looking very good, and hopefully Matt Canada can actually pull out that potential that we all thought he could bring to the offense. And I'll give him this. He didn't have the personnel last year. He had Ben at quarterback. He had a very weak O-line.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Canada was basically handcuffed, this time around,
And that's giving him the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, that's decently optimistic.
Yes.
If you know what I'm saying.
Very, very, very slim when it comes to optimism with Matt Canada.
I'm not trying to make excuses for Canada, but at the same time, I'm trying to be a little optimistic. I want to see what this offense on paper is going to do against top defenses like the Saints.
I mean, Canada's got basically all the talent in the world. He's
got the tools.
He's got a quarterback that he's been familiar with back in his Pittsburgh days with Kenny Pickett whenever he steps in. He's got George Pickens, a young rookie wide receiver that is an absolute stud. He's still got Chase. He's still got Deontay. You got Najee. You got Muth. You got an upgraded offensive line, that's for sure. Canada cannot fail.
And you have Canada's top secret weapon in Calvin Austin III. I mean, I'm very curious to see what this offense can do against top defenses. The Saints are definitely one of the top ones. So if all goes well and everyone's fully healthy, that should be a nice matchup right there. I can see that being a defensive bout.
Oh, without a doubt, I can see it being a defensive bout for sure.
Should be fun, though.
But with this matchup against the Saints, to which I feel like they have a top 3 defense, considering how they were last year and how much that defense was dependent on so much for the Saints. This is definitely a matchup I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on for the Steelers offense, depending on how they do within the first week.
Right, but
the first half of the season specifically.
But to open after the bye, to open the second half of the season for the Steelers, that's a tough defensive bout. As we also host the Bengals on Sunday Night Football for Week 11. So we face them Week 1 and face them Week 11. I'm going to say right now, I think we split with the Bengals. I think we split with the Ravens. I think we sweep the Browns. So if you want a quick little record prediction, at least for the division, I'm going 4-2 Steelers.
I would probably have to agree 4-2. Sorry, Browns, but,
fuck the Browns.
You guys are the Browns. Browns are the Browns, so...
Just saying.
For God's sake, if we could beat you last year with what we had, I know for damn sure with a young up and rising team, we can definitely sweep your ass. I'm just saying. But
But after 2 straight home games, we have 2 straight primetime games, which is Sunday Football versus the Bengals at home, and then we have Monday Night Football at the Indianapolis Colts, which will be led by Matt Ryan. We're facing Jonathan Taylor, one of the top backs, a very underrated defense, a great O-line. I'm looking very forward to this. The Colts haven't beaten us since, 2008, 2009?
Yeah.
We have had their number for the longest time.
Yeah, for basically over a decade. I don't know what it is when it comes to the Colts facing the Steelers, but we are their kryptonite.
Yes.
They cannot hold our jockstrap, basically.
Even when we were at our lowest, we were still able to beat the Colts. So we have the Colts number. I'm feeling confident on that one, but the Colts are an upgraded team with a...
that still does, despite with how we've been able to beat the Colts for the past couple of matchups, I'm still not going to underestimate them with a better quarterback in Matt Ryan. You got a fantastic MVP caliber running back, in my opinion, in Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
That receiving group's definitely going to get better, especially with Reggie Wayne as their wide receiver coach.
Yeah.
And that defense is definitely getting upgraded.
Right. But we have the Colts number, so I'm a little confident on that one from Monday night heading into their stadium. Speaking of Matt Ryan, we face Matt Ryan, then we face Matt Ryan's former team, the Atlanta Falcons, at their house. I don't know what to expect from the Falcons this year. They're weak at receiver. They're weak at line. Kyle Pitts is great. Their quarterback situation's a little up in the air. It seems like they're just taking one of those, I don't want to say tank, but more so experimental years to see what they can get and try to get a decent draft spot is what I'm seeing with the Atlanta Falcons so far this year.
Unless, it depends on how Desmond Ridder does.
Of course.
But, we could see Ridder here. We could see Mariota here. I don't really know. I really can't tell you how I feel about Atlanta, except, I don't feel like they're that great of a team,
right?
Considering they lost a lot. So this is another game, in my opinion, that I can, kind of see quote-unquote trap.
I can absolutely see this being a trap.
Considering it's on the road and it's in Atlanta, so
right.
Yeah, I 100% see this being a trap game for sure.
Yeah, I see it kind of falling as a trap. Week 14, the Baltimore Ravens. The first matchup the Steelers have versus the Ravens is Week 14, late into the season.
That's actually kind of surprising.
Wasn't that similar to last year? Like, we haven't seen a late Steelers-Ravens matchup till late to the season.
I think you're correct on that. Last year, our two matchups against the Ravens were actually in the later part of the season.
And I think that's going to be the same thing here. For Week 14, our first matchup with the Ravens. Late into the season again, but it's Steelers-Ravens football. You can't hate it.
No, you cannot hate it whatsoever.
Week 15, travel back on the road to face the Carolina Panthers with Matt Rule as the head coach and what is apparently going to look like his make-or-break year. The Carolina Panthers, man, they're just dealt with injuries and their quarterback situation is a mess. This could also be another trap.
This could very well be another trap. The Panthers, I don't really got much to say except their quarterback situation is basically a hot potato.
Right.
Honestly, we'll see how the Panthers do, but I can see that being another trap game, potentially. Right. But after that, we got the Las Vegas Raiders at Heinz Field on Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve, and if you look at the date, that is Saturday. That is Saturday Night Football right before Christmas Day on Christmas Eve. So put the kids to bed, tell them Santa Claus is on the way, but tell them that Franco Harris,
yes,
for the 50th anniversary, I'd imagine, will be arriving in a Santa costume in the same pose that he made 50 years ago at Three Rivers.
I have no doubt in my mind Franco Harris will be there in person, repping the black and gold. It is very, very synonymous that the NFL put the game right here against the Raiders, one day after the 50th anniversary.
Right.
That is insane.
That is insane, and props to the NFL for doing something like that. That is one hell of an early Christmas present. That's awesome.
And depending on how the Raiders and Steelers look, depending on how they do throughout the season, maybe we see some sort of Christmas miracle happen again. Maybe 50 years later. I don't know.
Stranger things have happened, but it's Steelers-Raiders football, which is always competitive, always fun to watch. It's one of those old classic undermining rivalries that you look back at in the old days and you're like, man, that was one hell of a game to watch. And we're going to get the same thing here.
On Christmas Eve, as we're going to sit down in our pajamas, drinking a hot cup of cocoa, and just, hopefully not break our TV.
Or throw the Christmas tree out the window. One of the two. One of the two is going to happen, I'm sure. But the Raiders have always had our number. They have. And this is in Pittsburgh, but they still have our number.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Jesus Christ. Every matchup is basically a heart attack game against the Raiders.
Right. But like you said, miracles have happened. I think it's time for another Christmas miracle on the 50th anniversary, one day after of Franco Harris's immaculate reception play that changed a franchise, changed the landscape,
and created a dynasty.
Amazing, man. Props to the NFL for doing that. I can't wait for that match. That is Christmas Eve football. Hell yeah. Let's go. In Week 17, to open the new year for 2023, the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, which will definitely have AFC North and playoff implications.
It's very, very similar to how last year's season ended.
Very similar.
So I can absolutely see this be the case once again for the second straight year.
Yes.
The fact that the Ravens and Steelers are going to face each other into the later parts of the season,
that's how you open a new year.
That is how you open a new year, and that's how you gain viewership, and that's how you gain traction to your broadcasting with Steelers-Ravens, one of the most historic and one of the most watchable and exciting rivalries, and arguably still, to this day, the best rivalry in the NFL.
No doubt in my mind. But to close out the season, guys, Week 18, we have the Cleveland Browns, on which the date has yet to be determined. That will be either January 7th or January 8th. Time is yet to be determined as well, but that will be our final opponent for the regular season, which is the Cleveland Browns, which I'm sure Watson will be the quarterback for that if he is suspended. Otherwise, we'll see Watson again.
Yeah, for sure. But when I look at the schedule, all 18 games, or 17 specifically, 18 weeks, it's very difficult.
It is very difficult. Again, the Steelers are tied for 12th in strength of schedule, and that's just based off last year's records, but a lot of these teams have improved a lot. The Jets, the Dolphins, the Colts. Many other teams I can totally
I would even say the Ravens got arguably one of the most dangerous safety tandems right now with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams.
Right, so that
I'll even give the Ravens that.
And going back to our talk,
the Raiders got Devontae Adams.
And going back to our talk about our new offense going up against top defenses, Saints, Bucks, Bengals, Ravens, many other defenses that we're going to have to go up against with this unknowing offense. We have expectations, we have hopes, we have a lot of optimism, but we won't truly know until we see some action on the field come September 11th versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. And our defense is definitely going to have to be dependent on, I feel like, once again. And we got a lot of hot and fiery and crazy offenses like the Bengals, like the Raiders, since they got Devontae Adams to pair back with Derek Carr. You still got the Ravens. You got the Buccaneers. You got a lot of young and talented and hot and uprising offenses. And the defense is really going to be something, considering how much they added, is going to be something to definitely keep an eye on, especially the rushing defense. Considering how they were last year, let's just hope and pray, and let's be optimistic that it's not as bad as last year.
Right, absolutely. But, the season starts crazy immediately. The first half of the season is very tough, and the second half of the season isn't any easier. So we're going to see a lot of truth with the Steelers team, a lot of truth with, I suppose, Mike Tomlin in his first season as head coach without Big Ben Roethlisberger under him. Now, I have true hope and a lot of praise for Tomlin and a lot of good stuff to think of when it comes to Mike Tomlin. So I think he'll give us a pretty good record. I think he'll keep us competitive because that is Coach T. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers way. And Coach T is one of the best coaches in football. Every year, I love the guy more. So yes. I think he will continue to keep this team competitive. If I had to give you a record prediction, I would say 9-8, 10-6 at best.
10-7.
10-7. God, I got used to that.
And honestly, I think that's, as of right now, that would be my record prediction is 10-7.
Which is very good for this team.
And it's definitely, capable to at least getting into the 7th seed. So we'll see how this team works, how this team plays, and how this team goes for 17 games in a tough schedule.
Very tough schedule because,
especially early on.
Each half is very tough. We have a nice sweet spot for a bye week of week 9, but each half is not really that easy.
No, it is
very tough, but because of the schedule, we will truly see what this team is made of and all that good stuff. So
and it's going to be an exciting season. It's going to be the first season without Big Ben Roethlisberger as our quarterback.
It's going to be very unpredictable because we don't know exactly what's going to happen, and that's the great thing about it.
And it's truly a new era for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I am, for one, excited for sure.
Because now that we have the schedule out, Pittsburgh Steelers football is just coming any closer now. A lot closer now. And thanks to that, we have the preseason schedule right here. Obviously, preseason has only been down to 3 weeks again. But here's the preseason schedule because, we're going to get a lot closer to the football season when it comes to August. We're already in May, so August is still a little far, but it's closer than September, so I'll take it. Preseason football, man. We'll be able to see a lot of the team, see a little bit of the rookies a little bit. Week 1, Seattle Seahawks. Hell yeah. Week 2, we got the Jags. Week 3, we got the Lions.
Wow, no Panthers.
I'll be damned, you're right. No Panthers.
This is like the first time in, I want to say, 20-some-odd years, just about, that we have not faced the Panthers within our last week of the preseason.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That is bizarre.
That's the first thing that came to my mind after seeing the lines right there. No Panthers, but it is what it is,
And that is our preseason schedule because that is a lot closer than the regular season. And any Steelers football we can get anytime soon, I will take it. I will take it because I'm already missing Steelers football. I'm going insane not knowing what to do on Sundays.
But hey, it'll be here before we know it.
It will be here before we know it. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers 2022/2023 NFL regular season and preseason schedule, man. Give us your guys' thoughts and your record predictions down below. Schedule is out. The schedule is out, and now the waiting game continues. So get your clocks ready, get your calendar circled, get these days ready because Steelers football is coming soon. A little too far, but it'll be here soon. It'll be here in the blink of an eye because it's already May. So we got the schedule out here. Give us your guys' thoughts down below and your record predictions. It's gonna be interesting to see what this team does this year because there's a lot of unknown. There's gonna be a lot that we will see when it comes to the Steelers. And a lot of truth will come out about a lot of these guys. So I'm excited.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt, brother.
But let us know your guys' thoughts down below. We'll see you guys in the next one.
And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!